Hi, I'm the Craft Maiden, and in this video I will be making Baby Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. And as always, if you're going to make this yourself, you can find all the tools and materials used in this video in the description box down below. First off, I made a skeleton with wire and covered it with aluminum foil for some volume before I covered it all with Super Sculpey. As it's a lot of textures on Groot's body, it's easier to make one body part at a time and bake it in between, so to avoid any deformations on the sculpted surfaces when you're working on other body parts. To create the bark, I rolled out pieces of clay and added them onto the body, roughly following the reference photos I had at hand. But I did mostly just improvise and try to get the bark as flowy as possible, as Groot is kind of laid back in this move and dancing. When I was happy with the placement for some of the bits, I just started to shape it roughly to resemble the texture of bark. Then I just kept on adding clay until I was satisfied with the look of it, and then used the pointy silicone tool to create the grooves in the bark. And if you don't have one of these or are unable to get a hold of one, you can always use an eraser that you shape to fit this purpose. And yes, I did remove the clay from the head. I went ahead of myself when covering the body, then it's time to bake it. For the arm I used liquid Fimo as a bonding adhesive, but instead of adding rolled clay on top of it, I made deeper grooves in the clay already there, but otherwise I made it the same way as I did with the body. To make the hand, I continued the grooves all the way to the edge, then added a small piece for the thumb. And if you place the thumb inwards to the hand, it won't break off as easy, but if you want the thumb to stick out, add a piece of wire inside just to make it more sturdy. Then I made the hand a bit knobbly where the joints and knuckles should be placed, and finished it off by adding the texture with the silicone tool. According to Referens Photos, Groot seems to have a twig on each arm, so I made a base of wire to give some strength to the piece and then bent the end a bit just to make sure if it would break off, it wouldn't come off as easy. Before baking it, check for any missed spots in the texture. When it all had cooled down, I began with the head, so first off I just added lots of clay to fill out the silhouette. Then I made some guidelines so to know where to place the eyes. And for that I'm using a pair of glass eyes for teddy bears. If you are making this yourself, make sure they are made of glass so they won't melt in the oven when you're baking the clay later on. I carved out some clay and placed the eyes into the sockets and started to build up the face. The head was a bit too small, so I added a bit more aluminum foil. If you have seen my Monster Book of Monsters video, you will know that I like to sculpt my bad side before sculpting my good side when I'm doing something symmetrical. As there is no really good reference photos on the back of Baby Groot's head, I just improvised and added a lot of tweaks. After I baked the head, I added the vines to the body, and as always, adding liquid Fimo as a bonding adhesive when adding new clay to already baked one. To avoid any shine from the excess liquid Fimo, I used a brush and brushed it away. After one final bake, I painted Groot in a black acrylic as a base coat. Then I worked up the layers of paint with lighter and lighter shades of brown to achieve some depth in the bark. For the last layer of brown, I'm using a technique that's called dry brushing. That means there is the smallest amount of paint on the brush, and it's supposed to be used as a highlighter and should only be applied on the high points of the grooves. Then I added some green paint and highlights and shadows to the veins. When watching the movie, you can see a little bit of green on Groot's hands and head, so for that I'm using green turf in different colors and size and gluing it on with regular Hobbyglue. As the colors were a little bit too close to each other, I decided to add a bit of shadow with some watered down green acrylic. For the stand for Groot I used this white pot, but for Groot to stand in it sturdy I needed to fill the inside with a piece of extruded polystyrene that I cut into size, and this is optional, but I covered the top with Worbla, but you can of course use a piece of hard paper or cardboard for a harder surface. I gently heated the Worbla and attached it to the styrene and cut off any excess, picked a hole in the middle, and before the Worbla had cooled down I pressed Groot inside it just to make an indent in the surface. This is because Groot wasn't really flat enough underneath to stand the way I wanted. And to fix Groot into place I used polystyrene glue. Then I covered the ground with a green base coat, and when it dried I glued on even more turf, alternating in size and color. Summer is almost over, and with that my seasonal job, so hopefully I will be able to make more videos for you all to enjoy very soon. But until then, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you won't miss the next time I upload. I am Groot. If you want to know more of what I do on my spare time, check out my Instagram. Link is in the description box down below, together with all my social media. I hope you enjoyed this video. Why not give a like to let me know? And as always, if you have any suggestions about future videos, comment down below and I shall see what I can do. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye!